this is Mermaids for Environmental Education. We're just hanging out here for a second, waiting for a few more participants to join in. And we started this group in hopes to help professional mermaids and hobby mermaids and all mermaids of all kinds to learn all about the ocean and the water and the environment and all the things that we can do for it and all the things that live in it, and just learn together and share together. So I invited mermaid Tasha Height tonight to share her personal experience with sand tiger sharks. And you did research in South Africa, right? For what, 2 months you were there?
Yep, from February to April.
Oh my gosh. So you like took the mermaid dream to like the real life end, which is so freaking awesome. So I hope that people can get in here and see this. I'm not sure.
Tasha, my name's Lewis, and I'm an upcoming professional merman. I'm just a beginner right now. Grace Ann's been mentoring me.
Oh, that's great. Nice to meet you.
You said sand tigers, right?
Yes. Oh, nice. You have a tooth.
Yeah, that's because I'm also a volunteer diver for the Adventure Aquarium, but I haven't dove there in over a year because of the pandemic. Hopefully be back there later this year.
Nice.
Oh, Becca's in. Good evening, Becca.
Oh, hi, Becca. Hi, Trisha. Oh, maybe they're just watching passively, which is totally fine. Well, hopefully, I'm still learning how Facebook rooms work, but it's 8:32 and I want to respect everybody's time. So I will introduce you formally and then we will get started, and then hopefully people will pop in. So welcome everyone. Good evening. My name is Grace Ann. I am in New Jersey and I am the Barnegat Bay Mermaid. I started this group, Mermaids for Environmental Education, to educate everybody in the mermaid community about the environment, and hopefully all of you feel free to share all the things that you do in your human life, in your mermaid career or life, about the environment and all things ocean and water related. Tonight we have the absolute pleasure of inviting mermaid Tasha Height with us tonight to talk about her experience with sand tiger sharks in South Africa. So with that, take it away, my friend.
Thanks. Is there a way that I could share my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, wait, never mind. I see it. Share your screen.
Yeah. Feel free to put questions for Tasha in the chat. I'll help her monitor that, and that way we'll get everyone to be able to answer. Hi, Trisha. I see Marina the Mermaid is here. Fabulous. All right, take it away, Tasha.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So just a little background on me, and then background on Sharklife, which is the group that I was in South Africa with, and then we'll get into the presentation. So my name's Tasha Height. Nice to meet y'all. I have my Master of Business Administration degree from Loyola University, Maryland. I'm a PADI rescue diver, a fin fun mermaid instructor, a NAUI mermaid, a PFI freediver, 9-year lifeguard, 5-year professional mermaid, one of the original Circus Siren Atlanteans, owner of Mermaid Tasha LLC, and I was a shark research assistant at Sharklife for 2 months in South Africa. So Sharklife Conservation Group is located in Sodwana Bay, South Africa, and they were established in 2005, and I just kind of took this snippet of information from their website. So it kind of just gives an overview of what Sharklife is and what they kind of aim to do. So it says, established in 2005, Sharklife addresses the alarming exploitation of both shark populations and ocean fisheries in South African waters. We actively engage the urgent need for research and protection of many marine species. Develop a compassionate desire to conserve sharks by replacing the Jaws syndrome with positive understanding and respect, which the Jaws syndrome is obviously people see the movie Jaws and then they're scared of the water and they're scared of the ocean and they hate sharks and want to kill all the sharks. Aim to reduce anthropogenic threats to overexploited marine species by increasing awareness and encourage sustainable seafood choices. Aim 3, evolve shark populations into sustainable living resources by promoting educational ocean experiences for all South Africans. And Sharklife focuses mostly on a lot of different elasmo branches, which are the sharks and rays, the different marine mammals such as dolphins and whales. And then they also have local students come in and we assist them with their research as well. So while I was there, we were assisting with research with manta rays and with sea turtles. So for today's presentation, and I took all of the pictures in this presentation, or there are pictures of me that were taken in South Africa. But for this presentation, first we're going to go over what are sand tiger sharks, a little bit about them, why we research them, how we research them, threats that they're currently facing, how you can learn more if you're interested, and then we'll do a Q&A. So like Gracian said, feel free to put any questions that you have in the chat room, and I can't see the chats while I have my presentation up, but once we get there, I'll gladly go to that and answer any questions that y'all have. So what is Kachorius taurus, which is the scientific name for a sand tiger shark? Well, it was discovered in Sicily in 1910 by Constantine Samuel in the USA. We call them sand tiger sharks, even though they are not related to the tiger shark, aside from the fact that they're both sharks. In Australia, they call them the grey nurse sharks, and similarly, they're not related to nurse sharks, except for the fact that they're both sharks. So in South Africa, it's called the spotted ragged-tooth shark, and there's actually two other species of ragged-tooth sharks, the small tooth and the big eye. But they're a lot less common and they tend to stay in more pelagic waters, not so much coastal like the sand tiger shark. So any of those three names all describe the same shark. They're part of the mackerel shark order. Just like whale sharks, they can be identified by their spots and they have unique patterns. So each pattern of spots identifies that shark, which is something that definitely helped us with our research, which I'll get into a little bit later. They're only born about 3 feet, or I guess it's kind of big, so not only, but they're born about 3 feet long or 1 meter long, but they can average 1.8 to 2.5 meters, the largest being 3.2 meters. Males mature at just under 2 meters long at 7 years old, and females mature at just over 2 meters long, around 10 years old, and they have a lifespan of over 40 years. They're very widely distributed. They're found all over the world except for the Mediterranean. Fun fact, they're regionally extinct in the Mediterranean and their last known sighting was only 70 years after they were first discovered. And they were actually discovered in the Mediterranean, so kind of interesting tidbit there. They like to stay in tropical and subtropical waters and stay 3 to 50 meters deep, kind of close to the shore. And since they're found all over the world, they're also found right along our coast here in Ocean City where I am, and up in New Jersey where Grace Ann is, and all over the east coast of the US as well. They like to avoid the currents by finding gullies and rocky caves to hang out in, and they can actually hover in the water column by going to the surface, gulping air, and then using that air to kind of control their buoyancy like we do while we're mermaiding, which is very unique in terms of sharks and fish in general, so fun facts. Diet and teeth, like Lewis showed us a teeth earlier, this tooth on the bottom right here is a sand tiger shark tooth. They are sluggish predators that feed at night, and they mainly eat bony fish like herring and mackerel because they need to swallow it all in one bite. Sometimes they'll eat small sharks and rays, crabs and crawfish and scavenge for their food, but as I said, they need to be able to consume it in one bite because their teeth are used as grabbing tools. So they are, like you can see in this bottom right one, hold on, let me see real quick. Oh, they have an elongated blade and no serrations, and they're a tricuspid tooth, which is used only as a grabbing tool. And how they'll attack their lunge is they'll do a sideways attack their prey, is they'll do a sideways lunge attack that impales prey on their large front teeth, and the jaw protrudes to enhance the bite. They reproduce every 2 to 3 years, and they have a 9 to 12 month gestation period. They do give a live egg birth, which means like they have eggs, but they still give a live birth. And this is one main reason why we research them at Sharklife, because we're tracking this reproduction period. So what happens is mating occurs down in southern KwaZulu-Natal, which is the state that Sodwana Bay is located in. And then the females will move north into the shallower and warmer waters, exactly where Sodwana Bay is. And they'll normally stay for about 5 to 6 months and then head back down to the Eastern Cape to pup. However, this year, they're actually still there. So normally the season is October to February or March. And this year they came in October like normal, but it's the end of June and they're still there. So they've been there for 8 to 9 months now. And this is one main reason of why we're tracking them, so that we can figure out how long they're staying, why they're staying longer. Are they going to pup here, or are they still going to go back to the Eastern Cape? Is this just like a 1-year thing that they're just going to stay this year for some odd reason, and next year they'll be back to moving on as normal? All that fun stuff. So yeah, at Sharklife we track how long they're in our waters and movements of the pregnant females. So every day that we got on the boat, we had a pretty busy day. We pack the boat at 5 a.m., make sure it has all of the gear that we need for the day, depending on what type of survey we were doing, which I'll get into in another few slides. And then at 6 a.m., we'd head down to the beach for our beach launch. Before we could launch the boat, we'd have to fill out the launch log, fill any tanks that needed filled. We'd have to lower the tires of the truck and the trailer to drive it onto the beach. And then when we came back, we'd have to refill the tires with the air. And then we would literally like put the boat sideways in the water, and then we'd have to push it the right way and then walk it out into the waves and then get on it as the captain started to drive it away. And then about 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., depending on the light, the tides, the weather, all that stuff, we would do our boat research, which, like I said, we had a few different ways to do that, which I'll get into in the next slide. And every day we did a survey on Quarter Mile, which is one of the closest reefs to the beach. And then when we got back, we'd have to clean the boat, the trailer, and the truck, make sure there was no sand, no salt, because that can all lead to rust, which can make things wear and tear faster. And then we would have to input the data into the computer and complete daily logs in Excel. And then the days we didn't go into the boat were office days, which we not only did computer work like I3S, which I'll again get into later, but we also did stuff around the office. So Sharklife is actually a museum where people can come in and learn about sharks and marlins and all sorts of big fish and turtles and fun things like that. So one time there was an accident in the museum and 3 of our tanks broke. So we spent one of our office days completely redoing the tank and filling it with silicone and fiberglass, well, putting the fiberglass back together and filling the cracks with silicone and making sure it wouldn't leak and cleaning it and redoing fish tanks and all that fun stuff. So some of the research methods and tools that we use, which this is just a list, and then I'll get into more what they specifically mean in the next few slides. Remote underwater video, baited remote underwater video, underwater visual census freediving, and underwater visual census scuba. And then the tools that were used were current meters, GPS tracker, I3S computer system, Excel data sheets, and Dive Plus. I3S computer system is basically like a software system that's on the computer, and all the pictures that we took through the different research methods, we'd have to upload into I3S, and then we would have to click on every single spot on the shark and match that picture of the spots on that shark to the spots on the pictures that we had previously logged. And then once they matched the sharks, then they would say, okay, these spots match these spots, so this must be the same shark. So this picture was taken on this day in this location, and this picture was taken on this day in this location. So therefore, that shark went from this spot to this spot. And that's kind of how we can track where we went. And our I3S systems were kind of a season behind, which is not very good. But for the 2020 season, we tracked 287 different individual ragged-tooth sharks. And then Excel data sheets we had for current, the location, the time, what was seen, what wasn't seen, all that fun stuff. We had several different data sheets depending on the specific project. And then a lot of them had a lot of information that overlapped that we have to transfer from one data sheet to the next. And Dive Plus is a fun tool that you can use on your phone. Unfortunately, I tried to see if I could use it on my computer to fix some of the pictures in this presentation, but it's only a phone app, but it is on Google, Android, and iPhone. And basically what it does is it color corrects any underwater photos or videos that you've taken. So it makes it less green. Remote underwater video. I'm not really sure why it's called video because it takes pictures, but this is just like the official term for it. So in this housing here, you see we have 2 GoPros and then a battery pack that the GoPros are plugged into the battery pack so that it stays fully charged for an entire week. And what it does is it takes pictures every 30 seconds on both cameras of what's going on around it. So that way you have pictures for an entire week of the sharks and the different activity that swam around. And that way you can match like information with days that you weren't there to physically see it yourself. Baited remote underwater video. This one actually is a video. So I'm in the leopard towel and the mermaid leggings, and what I'm holding is the stick that we put the bait in. So we put in frozen, and you have to cut them up into pieces, and we put half frozen, half fresh in to fill this bucket thing, and then we put a lid on so it doesn't fall out. And then we'll take the pole with the fish and we'll put it in. You see these 4 legs here? That's actually a stand that we hook the camera to. So you have the bait with the fish hanging out, and then the camera's recording here so it sees everything that goes for the bait. And then there's weights at the end of the little stand thing, and we'll drop that in and leave it underwater for at least an hour, normally like an hour to an hour and a half, depending on currents and stuff, while we're mapping the rest of the water. And then we'll see what's on the video, and we'll have to screenshot everything that we see. And for that, we're not just tracking the raggies, we're tracking any elasmo branches, which, as I said, are any sharks or rays. So yeah, that's fun. And then the guy that you see back there in the blue shirt, he doesn't like the smell of sardines, so he can never handle that part. But underwater visual census free diving. So this is when we free dive down to the reef and we take pictures ourselves and record anything that we physically see ourselves, which this is the type of survey that we did on Quarter Mile every single day. And then we'd also do it at other locations, or we'd also do a different type of survey method, as well as our free diving census on Quarter Mile. So for this, you just free dive down with your GoPro and do a track of the entire loop of Quarter Mile or whatever reef that we're on that day, and see how many turtles, how many rays, how many sharks, that sort of thing. Specifically looking for the raggies, but also taking note of any other elasmo branches or turtles that we happen to see. Underwater visual census scuba is the same thing, except on scuba. So for this, you're down for like an hour at a time, just making sure that you get everything. Current meters was one of the tools that we used. So that's this stick that you can see in between me and the guy next to me. And basically it just constantly measures the current and moves along with the current. And then when the storms came, we'd have to go in and like dig it out and make sure that it was right side up and all that, so that way it could still work. GPS tracker is what's in this Tupperware container, and then that orange thing on top is a floater to make sure that it floats. So we would turn the GPS tracker on when we would get in for any of our surveys or dives or anything, and that way we could track the different data. So it also tracks the current, the time, the location, the GPS. I don't know if it tracks the wind, but that could probably be figured out based on the current. And it just tracks all that different information, and then you can just plug it right into the computer and it'll tell you all the information in terms of like the weather and conditions for that dive. So where we went to look for the raggies and other stuff is part of a marine protected sanctuary, which is very good because it's a conservation effort that not only protects the sand tiger sharks, but also lots of other different types of marine life. So what a marine protected sanctuary is, or marine protected area is it's an area that by law you can't do certain activities in because there's endangered species there and they want to protect it. So even though they do things in meters, their dive sites are all in miles because South Africa, I don't know what to tell you. But from 1/4 mile all the way up to 9 mile, you can dive in that area, but there's no fishing allowed. So what we would do is on beach patrol days, we would hook up with the local patrol there. And because we're a research team, so we have special access to different areas, and we would go out with them and make sure that there were no fishermen in that protected area. And if there were, we tell them, hey, you have to move 20 more meters out to the fishing area, or however many more meters they had to go to be in the fishing area, and just make sure they knew and got out of that area. And then the sanctuary where the Raggies specifically stayed is about 40 kilometers south of that diving area, and in the sanctuary there's no diving, no fishing, no nothing. The only people that are allowed to be there is Sharklife because they have a special research permit and they're only allowed to research there. So they couldn't just be like, oh, we're researching, and then just go have fun. So that's how specific protected that area is. And so like I said, they'd have different patrol days where we'd go out with the local enforcement agencies and just make sure that everybody was where they were supposed to be and knew what they were doing where and all that sort of stuff. So the IUNC Red List lists the sand tiger, gray nurse, raggy-tooth sharks as vulnerable, which means that they're facing a high risk of extinction in the wild. Sad face. And their two major threats are handline fisheries and shark culling. So they are a recreational fishery target for sport and trophy, as are many sharks. And there have been 1,763 that are caught in South Africa every year. And that seems like a really specific number to me. So I'm not sure if that's just the number for last year and they're just saying every year, or if that's an average. But it's around 1,763 caught every year. And then shark culling is a program that's pretty popular in Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. And what they do is they set up gill nets and drum lines, however many meters from the beach. That way the sharks can't come in and attack the bathers. And 41 sand tiger sharks are caught accidentally in these every year in South Africa, and only 28% of them are released, which sand tiger sharks pose no threat to humans. Some of them are so chill that they'll literally just hang on the bottom for so long that sand will pile on top of them. And when we'll go to take their picture, they're just covered in sand because they just chill. But they are sharks, so they still get caught in those gill nets and drum lines, even accidentally. If you'd like to learn more about sand tiger sharks or any other type of shark, you can always go to learn.sharklife.co.za, and they have free courses for you. So the free courses that they have are the shark species, the whale shark, the ragged tooth, which is the sand tiger shark, the tiger shark, the bull shark, and scalloped hammerhead sharks. And then if you want to become a donor member, which is $2 a month, you have access to even more courses, such as shark ID courses, becoming a master shark diver, all these other different courses. So if you're interested in sharks, I would definitely look that up. And if you want to go a step further and even be a shark research assistant like I was, you can also go to the Sharklife website for more information about that. Some of my contact info, if you want to follow, and subscribe, is Mermaid Tasha at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And then my human Instagram, if you want to see my adventures at Sharklife where I'm not in a tail, is at Tasha Nicole 97, which is the same as my Twitter, which I haven't been on in a few years, but I re-downloaded the app, so maybe you'll get some tweets eventually. And then my email, if you have any further questions, is info@mermaidtasha.com. So I'm gonna stop sharing this tab and then see if y'all have any questions in the chat. So if you got any, feel free to let me know.
Tasha, that was so excellent. Thank you so much. And I want to reiterate something which can often be an insecurity for people. And I just want to use it as a way to compliment you. So a lot of people feel insecure that they don't have a degree in marine biology, or that they don't have a degree in environmental science or environmental education or blah, blah, blah. And that can be sometimes hard because you feel as though you don't have the piece of paper to say you can do this thing that you're so passionate you love. But I just want to point out that you, in fact, don't have those things. And you, in fact, did contribute real science, real research to a real organization. You did this amazing program. You got this amazing experience. So can you just speak a little bit about how you found it and what were the qualifications you did need to have to do this? Because I think it's really inspiring, and I think others could really do this. It might seem out of reach for people, but I want you to just kind of go into that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So I actually found it on Facebook. Facebook is so bad in terms of like my wallet and finding dive things because I just want to do them all, but I'm very good at self-control and I don't do them all, which is good. But I still probably do more than I should. But anyway, so I found it on Facebook and it was legit. So that's good. Make sure that whatever you find online is legit before you do it. And basically, you didn't really need any qualifications aside for a passion for sharks in the ocean and conservation and research and wanting to help and everything. The term length or whatever is 1 to 3 months, so you don't need any like extended visa if you're going from America. I don't know about other countries. And when you're there, if you're not already freedive certified, they'll actually give you your PADI basic freediver. So they'll actually train you on that. And if you're not already scuba certified, that one's not included in the price, but they will sign you up for courses at a discounted cost that they work with Coral Divers, which is a local dive organization also in Sodwana, to get you either your open water, your advanced, your rescue, literally whatever your next dive step is if you want to take that. Yeah, so they basically provide everything for you. I would say you probably need to learn how to swim beforehand, but I'm sure if you didn't, then you could just do like office work if you were fine with that, but that kind of defeats the purpose. But yeah.
That's awesome. So how are you going to apply what you learned there? Was it something just that you really were passionate about and you wanted to like knock it off your bucket list, or is there something that you're hoping to do in the future that will expand on this?
Yeah, well, I actually teach mermaid camps here in Ocean City. So most of my mermaid camps are for ages 6 to 14-ish, and then I actually have an adult camp coming up in August that's for ages 15 and up. And at my mermaid camps, obviously I teach them how to swim in their tails, be safe in their tails, take pictures in their tails, all that stuff. But I also teach them about the environment, how to take care of their environment and local marine life that we have here. So being that sand tiger sharks are found all over, and they are found right here in our local waters, it's a perfect course to kind of dive into, to be like, hey, we also have these sharks here and you don't have to be scared of them, and here's some information that I can share with you about them.
Right. And so we also encounter them at aquariums, which I know that we have them at Jenkinson's Aquarium. Louis, I know we have them at Camden Aquarium as well, right?
Adventure Aquarium. And of course they also have them down at Epcot at Dive Quest. That's the first time I got to dive with them.
Yeah, I was actually in Florida, and the guy in the hot tub was like, yeah, they have raggies at the Epcot thing you can dive with. And I was just like, we don't call them raggies in America. What are you? But yeah.
You're not from here.
Speaking
so we still have, Louis, do you have a question for Tasha?
Yeah, Tasha, I'd be so interested in doing this one day. Like, would I definitely need a passport?
Yes, you would need a passport. Yep. South Africa is very cheap compared to pretty much everywhere else in the world, so that part's good. But yes, you definitely do need a passport.
So we have 2 people watching the live passively, so thank you all for tuning in and staying with us. Do either of you have questions for Tasha? If you do, definitely throw them in the chat. And I'll just put a little plug in while we wait for anyone to think of questions if they have them for Tasha. That Mermaids for Environmental Education is currently just a Facebook group, but I'm trying to invite other mermaids of all walks or all swims of our world to talk about their passions as mermaids and as professionals in the environmental field of all kinds. And so I do have a speaker lined up for next month. I'm still working on all the details on that, but hint, hint, it should be about oysters and all the ways that oysters are wonderful for us, and all the amazing things oysters can do for the bays, the oceans, and of course humans. So we're getting that lined up, and then following that, I'm hoping to invite some speakers. You might have all seen Fins Magazine hosted a worldwide World Oceans Day event. I'm hoping to get some of those mermaids that did that big event to come in and speak as well. But if you have an idea for a speaker or someone you would like to hear share their experience, please feel free to reach out to me. I would love everyone to get the chance to speak here and share their knowledge and their passion, and just continue growing this group with everyone and anyone who wants to kind of have an interest in the environment from the side of being a mermaid. Because I think we have a very niche place that we kind of hold in the world, kind of doing education and entertainment at the same time. And obviously, water and ocean is so much of what we are so passionate about, or else why the heck would we be mermaids? So yeah, just a little plug. Becca's jumping in. She says, no questions, but I do appreciate your emphasis that even if you don't have certifications, you can still share information and shouldn't be shy about sharing your knowledge. That's so true. So true. So always, yes, please don't feel like you need to have a piece of paper to say you know a thing. Don't walk around saying, spewing information that's not true, but also don't feel like you have to have gone to pay for a 4-year degree from a university to do environmental ed or environmental anything. Yeah, for sure. So does anyone else have any questions for Tasha? And go ahead, Louis.
Yeah, just want to say, Tasha, I forgot to say what my name as a merman is. It's Merman Adventure Philly.
Nice.
But of course, I definitely, what you mentioned about the Jaws thing. Well, I know it's just a movie, because you know why? I got over that a long time ago, because I know we're not really on their menu.
Exactly, yeah.
That is so true. I often have to tell people that sharks are not seeking out people to eat.
Same thing with, say, alligators. When it comes to alligators and lions, for example, they're territorial.
Yeah, sharks like to judge their prey on the defenses, the usability, the access in terms of biting and swallowing and all that. And just we're way too high risk, especially if there's like a dead turtle or something, or even a live turtle. But they don't like us.
Sharks act as scavengers.
Too noisy, too unknown, too big, too flaily.
Right.
Sharks act as scavengers.
And they're opportunistic, so they're not going to go after anything that's going to cause them to. Thanks so much, Melissa. And they're not going to go after anything that is going to be too much energy for them to go after. So Becca, we'll have to focus on some freshwater stuff, Becca, because I know there's a ton of mermaids that want to do freshwater education. I've just been trying to get the ball rolling with live videos and speakers, so it's just kind of this hopefully growing snowball. Hopefully. Rome isn't built in a day, so everything takes time. But if you want to catch this recording afterward, you can catch it here in Mermaids for Environmental Education, the Facebook group, and I believe it's going to appear on Tasha's YouTube channel, on her Mermaid YouTube channel. And you know what? I might just throw it on mine too. What the heck? I don't know. We'll see.
Speaking of YouTube, Tasha, I'm also a YouTuber too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Lewis's Adventures.
Cool. We'll have to follow each other.
Well, I can't thank all of you enough for being here. Tasha, thank you for your time tonight, and for Trisha, Becca, Melissa, and Louie for being here and supporting our speakers. And hopefully we can do this again sometime, maybe in a different venue, and just continue sharing the important work that you got to do. So thank you so much for your time tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Got it. All right, I'm going to end the live, and we'll see you all next time.